why promoting your podcast on social media won't help you grow and what to do instead. Most podcasters use social media as the main strategy to grow their show. So they promote all day, every day. You might even invest in an editor to chop up the episode into clips, or you get the latest AI tool to turn one piece of content into 1,000 just with one click, with hopes that you can get more eyeballs on your podcast. You blast this everywhere, the clips get some views and maybe some likes, but then you look at your dashboard and what do you see? Slow growth, low engagement, and a podcast that's still not making a profit. How the hell could this possibly be? You're left confused and even more frustrated because let's be honest, you never liked social media in the first place. So how come the traditional way of growing using social media doesn't help you grow? How can you promote all day and night and still be stuck with slow growth? Are promotional clips a total waste of time? These are the questions I'm going to answer. And finally, I'm going to break down how you can consistently and reliably grow your podcast using social media without having to promote a single time, and how to automate the entire process to be able to get more listeners for your podcast while you sleep. This is how podcasters like Kian went from 500 downloads to 7,000, and how other podcasts have added 50 new subscribers in a single day based off of this strategy I'm about to break down. So look, my name is Anthony Maneri. I'm the co-founder of GetMoreListeners.com, a company helping education-based podcasters. To us, that's business owners, coaches, experts, podcasters with topic-focused shows, turn a slow growth podcast into a rapidly growing positive ROI show really within 6 months. Over the last 4 years, I've interviewed and coached 350 plus podcasters. And I'm also the co-host of Why Your Podcast Isn't Growing, which generates $10,000 in attributed sales each month. But look, this isn't about me. This is about you, right? So how come you're promoting all day and night and your podcast still isn't growing? You know, we interviewed 100 plus podcasters around 2 years ago, and we found that the number one most used strategy for growing a podcast was promoting on social media. Yet 99% of them, of the podcasts that we interviewed, literally all admitted they had no clue of what they were doing was actually helping them grow. It was basically guesswork. Now, this is the situation that most people find themselves in, when they're basically just guessing, hoping that they can just do this and that and stumble upon growth, and listeners will discover their podcast and the show will grow, but it doesn't happen. And these are the three main reasons why promoting your podcast on social media won't help you grow your show. Number one, you're promoting to the wrong crowd. Look, it doesn't matter how long, how loud, how often you scream out, check out my podcast about veganism, just go with it. I know your podcast might not be about veganism, right? If only 10% of your audience are vegan and the other 90% are meat lovers, you'll only ever convert 10%. It's not their fault and it's not yours. It's kind of your fault. You're promoting the wrong crowd. But the point is, you're not going to convert more of them to just all of a sudden become vegans because, again, they're just not your target demographic. Reason number two, you're promoting to the same audience expecting massive growth. You know, but here's the thing. Promoting is a great way to keep your current listeners engaged. It's fantastic. I love it. It's awesome. It's great. But they already know your show exists. It doesn't help you reach new listeners. And if you're trying to grow your podcast month after month, you want to reach new listeners. You can't expand your growth, expand your reach, engage a new audience if you're promoting to the same audience. It doesn't work like that. And number three, trying to follow celebrities or authority figures who are playing a totally different game. So here's what I mean. You know, you might see someone who posts short form clips. So what do? You post short form clips. You might see someone else where they post everywhere on social media. So what do? You post everywhere on social media. You might see someone where they tell you, hey, repurpose your content. This is a great way. One click, turn one piece of content into 1,000. So what do? Turn one piece of content into 1,000 and repurpose your content. But think about it. How many posts and how many podcast promotional short form clips do you see where you click and listen to a full episode when you're scrolling through social media versus the number of podcast clips that you see and you ignore? The exact same thing is happening for your listeners. Why? People go to social media to be distracted, to watch cat videos, to be entertained, and they might watch short form content, right? Because they want to consume short form content, not a full length podcast. So what's the goal here? What should you do? If you just want exposure, then great, keep going, keep posting and promoting on social media. But if you're trying to consistently and reliably attract new listeners for your podcast, you have to change your approach. You have to completely adopt a new way of thinking when it comes to growing using social media. So what's the solution? Well, my solution and our solution that we found for our clients at the Get More Listeners Academy is basically our anti-social media promotions, where you tap into a new audience that don't know you exist. You have a focus on using social media to be social, and you want to engage over promoting. What do I mean? You want to become an MVP within online communities where your audience hang out. You want to build awareness about your podcast without being spammy or promoting. You want to engage with members who are actually interested in your show, members who actually show interest, not promoting to everyone all day, all night. No. And you want to provide so much value that people check out your profile and listen to your show. So here's the exact steps you should take. Number one, join online communities where your listeners hang out. Some options: Reddit threads, Facebook groups, LinkedIn or Instagram comment section. The principles still remain. The point is, identify online communities, hubs where your ideal listeners are. For a lot of you who are watching this right now, Facebook groups is going to be probably a clear starting point for the majority of you. So I'll say maybe just start there. Number 2, post related content focused on the topic of your podcast. Ask questions, share some insights from a guest, create polarizing polls based off your last episode. The point is, post content specific about the topics of your show, but do not, under any circumstance, I promise you, don't promote. No one likes a spammer. Just don't do that. If it's your community, I'll promote my community, right? But that's my community, right? But if you're joining someone else's community, if you're joining a community that isn't your own, don't just be a spammer. Provide some value, engage the audience. Do whatever you can to generate engagement on your post. This is the goal. Engage with everyone who likes and leaves a comment on your podcast. The algorithm will pick up the post and share it to more members of the community, which means you get more eyeballs and exposure on the post that you are generating. So here's what happens. You build your authority, you build your credibility, you provide valuable resources, and you send them to members. And from that, you get constant exposure to your target audience, and you're positioning yourself as what? An MVP. The next thing, you want to reach out to every single person. Don't miss a single person who engages with your content. Send them a specific episode you think they'll love based on the past interactions using a permission-based pitch. Why? You should be posting, again, content that is related to your podcast content. Members who engage are qualifying themselves as a potential listener. Now, what the hell is a permission-based pitch? So a permission-based pitch is our unique way of not being salesy and being too pushy. And is simply providing someone, number 1, a pitch that's fun to read. Number 2, a pitch that puts a smile on their face. And number 3, a pitch that doesn't spam a link, but asks for permission before you share the link. An example, hey name, I saw you recently liked X post, or I saw you recently like my post about X. I made a recent episode breaking down benefit of episode, breaking down how to grow using social media without promoting, breaking down how to leverage online communities to grow your audience that doesn't require you to promote, breaking down 3 simple steps you can take today to get more listeners through social media. You get the point, right? Then from here, what you want to do is simply say to them, hey, would you be open to me sharing this with you? ? Yes, and why not? No, and you suck. Again, entertaining. You're making it fun to read. A pitch that puts a smile on their face, and a pitch that doesn't spam, but ask for their permission. And that's what you want to do. Now, don't spam this link or this question to everyone. Make it your own. This is a template, but the principles still apply. You want to then repeat this process for the rest of time. Literally, do not stop. Then number 4, delegate to a team member or an assistant. And this is the part where you kind of take this off your plate, right? Because what you want to do is you need yourself as the CEO, as a host of this podcast, whether you're a busy business owner, a coach, expert, or just a creator, you have to do this reps yourself in order to gain the conviction that you need to know that this works and to know that you can delegate it to a team member, feeling fully confident that what they're going to do every single second they spend on social media is spent helping you get more listens for your podcast. So you need to do this first to see the proof for yourself, to see it actually work, and then delegate it. You want to track the results over time, and you want to follow up with everyone who you send your link to. Just because you send the link to someone doesn't mean they've listened. So to follow up maybe 4 days afterwards and simply say, hey, did you check out the show? What did you think? I'm looking for honest feedback. And oftentimes people respond extremely positively. So again, you want to get feedback, you want to build relationships, and you want to turn strangers online into highly engaged listeners of your podcast. This is how you get more listeners for your podcast while you sleep. This is the response that we've got for those of you who are skeptical and thinking, nah, this won't work. Yeah. It absolutely does work. Again, are you going to become the next Joe Rogan from this? Absolutely not. But it's just a consistent and reliable way to get more listeners for your podcast. Absolutely. Just absolutely 100% yes. And if you do this, you'll see the results for yourself, guaranteed. So again, just to round things up and to give you an update, right? You start here. You post qualifying content within an online community. The goal is to generate engagement needed for outreach. You want to engage for 10 to 15 minutes to boost your post in the algorithms. Then you want to outreach to engage members for 10 to 15 minutes. You want to send them a specific link based on a permission-based pitch to a specific episode you know they'll love because the post you're posting should be related to the podcast content. You then want to add them to a tracker, wherever you want to track it. It could be a spreadsheet, doesn't matter. You want to track all the members who replied. 24 hours later, you want to make a new post about a topic that you covered on the show recently, and then you want to engage and you want to repeat this process for the end of time. Again, this is the most reliable and consistent way to get more listeners for your podcast without constantly promoting. If you've got a smaller audience, you haven't got a massive reach on social media, this is where you have to start off. Now, is it fun? Is it sexy? Absolutely not. But does it work? Hell yes, it works, right? So once you've got this process dialed in, you can just give this process to an assistant or a team member like I mentioned. So what's the outcome, right? You grow on autopilot. You turn total strangers online into engaged listeners of your podcast. You 10x your reach, and you're consistently being exposed to new listeners. And finally, you tap into an audience that already exists. You're constantly being exposed to the right people. And that is how you use social media to grow your podcast, to get more listeners for your show. Look, my name is Anthony Maneri. You've been absolutely fantastic. I want to provide some value. I've started the YouTube channel. So look, if you're interested to see how we can help you grow, if you're interested and eager to explore new ways of growing your podcast, feel free to click the link down below. It will be a link. It will take you to a landing page. It is a VSL. It's there to pitch you and sell you on the idea and booking in a discovery call. But within that as well, I break down our 4-step growth and retention system. So if you're somewhat intrigued, want to learn more about how we help podcasters grow, and you want to figure out how you can do this for yourself and how you can work with an experienced team to help you along the way, visit the first link in the description down below. And hey, if you're not interested, that's totally cool as well. That's why I've made this YouTube video, to provide some value, to show you what to do, how to do it, and of course, helping you grow your show. Anyways, God bless and peace out.